Hi, Matt with eTrailer. If you have a 2024 Nissan Kicks and you're looking for something that's going to be very sturdy and really easy to work with, then the Pewag Servo Tire Chains are going to be a great option for you. So let's check them out. Now we will have this on tire size 205/55 R17. That's just the tire size we have today. They will fit a variety of other sizes. And we're going to have this on the front axle. It's what the manual recommends. Now, if you're not sure if this is going to fit your vehicle, you can actually plug in your vehicle's information into our fit guide to find the right one for you. Now, we can actually take a closer look at these links, and these are going to be square links, so they're going to give you a little bit more bite through ice and snow, perfect for those moderate snow and ice conditions. And they are going to be made from a titanium alloy steel, so these are going to be very durable, and they're going to last you a long time because they're going to be rust resistant. On top of that, we are going to have a diamond pattern to these chains, and a diamond pattern gives you more surface area on the tires, which will give you more traction overall, especially for making any turns. And they're going to be very low profile. They're going to be actually class S, so what that means is they're going to leave plenty of space to sit underneath your suspension. You can see I can get my fingers completely underneath here without any issues. And part of that is going to be because how tight this is able to get. And that's going to be due to our self-tensioner. And if you take a closer look at that self-tensioner, this is actually a really simple design. So the way this is going to work is you're going to have this cable that is wound up in here. And once you're ready to tighten this down, all you have to do is flip this around, and it'll tighten. Right now I got it in the loosen part, so if I just pull on it, it'll loosen up. And when I need to tighten it, it'll take out all of that slack. Perfect when you're driving and chains start to shift. Once they shift, they usually loosen up. This will make sure to take out any of that slack. And these chains are going to come two to a set in this pretty sturdy case. Now I like how low profile or flat this is, so it'll be really nice to store in the back of your vehicle. And if I open it up, what I also like about it is it has this built-in divider. Now the chains do kind of want to seep out of here a little bit, but I do like a divider regardless because it's going to keep your chains separated, preventing them from getting tangled up. In my opinion, I think this is a pretty solid choice to go with when you are looking for a really easy chain to work with, since it does have that self-tensioner in it, and it's nice that we don't have to get underneath the vehicle to install it. Now, the only problem I have with this one really is more minor than anything, and it's just going to be how two things work. It's going to be how the self-tensioner works, because I know some people do have issues with this cable getting kind of bound up in itself. I haven't had that issue too much. They've been pretty good to me. And the other issue is making the connection on the back can be a little bit tricky because the hooks that connect together are a little bit loose at times, and trying to make sure that stays tight when you secure everything else on can be a little bit difficult. And that's why I recommend checking out the Koenig self-tensioning tire chains, because they're going to be pretty much the same premise of this. It's going to have some type of device on the front of it, only I think that one's a little bit easier to work with, and it feels a little bit better in my opinion too. And making that connection on the back is super easy. And it's going to be at a lower price range too. It's going to be very similar, but just a little bit lower. But the one downside that's missing out on is just the material. It is very sturdy, but this one's going to be made out of a titanium alloy steel, which I don't see a whole lot of chains made out of that, and it's just a very strong and reliable material to have. So they're going to last you a long time. Now, if you are curious to see what this installation process looks like, what I'm talking about with those hooks on the back, just stay tuned. We'll walk you through the process. Where I like to start is just by grabbing some gloves and laying out my chains. Here, I just want to make sure that we don't have any damages to the links, so I'm just looking them over. And I'm also ensuring that we don't have anything that's tangled up. Once that looks good, I want to make sure everything's in the right orientation. So we're going to have these hooks that grab onto these gray cables. We want to make sure the flat side is facing up, so that's the side that's making contact with our tire. We also want to make sure that these black chains are furthest away from the tire, and that we don't have anything connected here in the center quite yet. Once we've established that, we can start putting it on. And what I like to do is push everything to their relative sides, and then kind of throw this behind your tire. Now, depending on how much snow is outside, this could be a little bit tricky, so it might take you a few attempts. But on these more slick surfaces, you should be able to get it behind here pretty easy. Once you have it around, you just kind of lay everything out. So You can tell nothing got tangled up in that process. And then we start putting it on. And where I like to start is with this gray cord. We're just gonna lift up and make this connection on the back side. You're just gonna have this hook that's gonna go into this channel right here. You'll be able to see the open side. That hook is just gonna grab around this edge right here and secure into place. I like to pull on it to make sure it is grabbing on correctly. Sometimes it will be a little bit loose still, so what I recommend doing is just maintaining control of your chains and flipping around. If it loosens up, you can try flipping it over. Get in like that. This is feeling a little bit better now. And we'll just drape it over until we can make this first connection. And this connection is really just going to consist of grabbing this red hook and this red link, connecting them together. And when that's connected, you can adjust how this sits up here. I'd recommend raising this up until you get to the point where this isn't going to be hanging over your rim. So it might take a few attempts. And what you can do is just kind of pull on this point here. If it's not pulling, you just have to flip this around into the open position. And that's actually going to help you out a bit. And now we can move down to the bottom where we're going to have this red connecting point. And you'll notice it's going to have this little gray bar inside of it. So we're actually going to make our connection to that point. To do that, we're just going to grab this red hook and connect them together. Now you'll notice this is a little bit too tight. I can't access it. So what I'm simply going to do is just pull on that cable just a little bit more, giving us a little bit more slack. And now we can start to make that connection. Just like that. Just going to make sure nothing's tangled up. Looks like I got a piece here that's a little bit messed up. There you go, that's looking better. And now I can just go over to that tensioning mechanism at the top. All I have to do from this point is just flip this over, and it tightens everything down. Honestly, I'd like to come back through, kind of pull on it, make sure it feels tight. And when you pull on it, it's automatically going to tighten up. And once you're completed that, then I'd recommend repeating that same process on the other side. Afterwards, then you can pull forward or back up some. Just make sure you're still getting a good fit and nothing's shifting too much. And if it feels good, you can take it out for a ride. That's just a look at some of the features and the installation of the Pewag Servo Tire Chains on our 2024 Nissan Kicks. I'm Matt. Thanks for watching.